Welcome to Grit, the Real Estate Growth Mindset podcast, hosted by Brian Charlesworth, founder of Sisu. Sisu provides growth automation software for real estate. You'll hear stories from real estate thought and technology leaders, team owners, and brokers on how they grew their business in a rapidly changing industry. You'll learn how to transform your brokerage and teams into a high-performing and analytics-driven business so you have a new, durable, competitive advantage against disruption in your market. So let's get right into it.
So, hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. I'm Brian Charlesworth, the founder of Sisu and your host. And today we are with Frank Klesitz. He's the CEO of Vyral Marketing. And if you guys are ever just looking for a great idea, you just want to go to Frank. And I'll tell you, he's not always going to give you an answer real time on the spot, but he'll ponder it and think about it, and then he'll come back to you, and one day he'll say, hey, this is what he's done to me. Hey, Brian, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to market your business, or this is what you need to. And he's always got an idea as to what he needs to do, and I can tell you he's done that with both me and my wife many times. She runs a real estate team, and it seems like we always listen, Frank. So you must have great ideas, and as an example of that, one of those is that we're actually doing this podcast today. So that being said, Frank, tell us a little bit about yourself and just about Vyral Marketing, just who you are.
Well, thanks, Brian. I appreciate the kind words. Out of college, I wanted to sell real estate. I went to a seminar. It was actually with the Keller Williams office at the time, and they gave me a copy of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, and they said, you need to have a 33 touch. I go, okay. This is about maybe 2007 or so. What do I send them? And there was really no answer.
Did you even know what a 33 touch was?
At the time, from the seminar, you had to send out stuff 33 times a year, apparently.
Okay, that was the purpose of the seminar at that time.
Yeah, it was like, one of the models they taught to get business.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what do I send them? And essentially, they didn't really have an answer other than going to these direct mail companies that just sent out junk mail. And that's what it was. Let's call it what it is. It was junk mail. I'm like, really? You want me to sell junk mail? That's how I saw it, because just being young and naive and, right? Like, I'm trying to be like, it was like 21, 22, whatever. Trying to figure out how I'm going to get a listing. I was like, junk mail? Really? So I had this idea to buy a flip camera at the time. Remember the old flip camera, Brian?
I remember, yeah.
Right. What if I made a video or two every month and sent those out? That's free. Facebook opened up to everybody. I could email it out. I'll start making some videos and sending them out. Well, as I was getting my license, I started doing it for the agent I was going to go work for on their team. I was like, hey, her name is Teresa. What are you doing to actually stay in touch with your list? She's been selling real estate for 30-some years. She said nothing. I'm like, what? I was told you have to have a 33 touch, right? So I was like, why don't you give me your list? Let's send some stuff out. I'll do the marketing wizardry because I'm a big geek, right? Got her on video, and she got a whole bunch of business. Well, she ended up being in a mastermind, and all the people in the mastermind were like, who's doing this for you? She gave them my name. And I go, maybe there's a business here. 10 years later, Vyral Marketing. We do that.
Awesome. I want to back up a little bit, because you said something right there that just sparked something that I wanted to talk about anyway, which was you said, really, junk mail, and that attitude of yours. I saw you. I didn't see this, but Spring showed me or told me about it, this post that you posted on Facebook recently. You want to tell us a little bit about that? Somebody said something about it was your therapist.
Oh, my therapist?
Yeah. Tell us about that.
Well, the backstory behind that is, I'm trying to lead and train my people here at Vyral. And we all know they all know what they have to do to market themselves and prospect, but literally week after 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 week, they would never do it. And I'm like, you all need a therapist. And everyone's like, yeah, I have issues. I'm like, I probably have issues too. And then we realize most coaching calls are coaching is disguised for therapy. If you really get and list these calls, I'm like, this is a therapy call. It's really what it is. Even Mike Ferry said the same thing. And when he started coaching, I remember him saying this from stage. He's like, coaching was therapy, but I can't call it that, so I call it coaching.
Yeah, and really, I mean, if you look at me, I go to the gym every morning, and every single morning I'm either listening to a podcast or a book, and I find myself going more towards podcasts because they are therapy, right? I mean, whether it's I want to know how to grow my business or how to make my life amazing or just all these different things, right?
So yeah, so I go to this. I said, you know what? I'm going to go see a therapist. I want to see what's up. You know, maybe I can learn something on how to be a better coach. I don't know, or just I'm open to the idea. So I'll go see a therapist. She was actually a hypnotherapist. Okay.
Okay.
Brian, it was amazing. I'm going every 2 weeks from now on. Right. So he puts me in this recliner. I lean back. She puts music on. And she's going to do all these, like, you know, subtle NLP, visualization exercises, whatever. But she said something to me. And I want you to imagine, like, I'm in a very intimate, calming hypnotherapy session. And she says something to me. I go, whoa, 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 whoa. What did you just say? Because she said it so casually. I'm like, stop. Write that down. Because that messed me up, whatever you just said. And I think I posted on Facebook. That's what you're referring to, right? What she told me?
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, she said... This is like I'm laying there in a hypnotherapy state, and she says, "Now, Frank, I will only tell you what you want to hear, because that's all you'll accept." What?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know Frank, you might want to just friend him on Facebook. Go check that out, because Spring was reading to me all of the comments on that from people who really know you, people who are close to you, like Jeff Cohn and Scott and. So anyway, I thought it was hilarious. I loved it. Pure entertainment, but thank you. So anyway, let's move on. So recently, I know you came to us with an idea, and you're always looking to add value to our lives, and so that's really why I wanted to have you on here today. I know that recently you started adding an additional pillar of revenue or wealth to your life. And I just wanted you to share that. That's really, I mean, most of the people who are going to be listening to this are successful team leaders, successful business leaders, successful brokers, and how can they really take their lives to the next level? And so I really wanted to today really focus in on that and let you share some of the things that you're doing to take your life to the next level.
Yeah. Well, go get a therapy session and realize how that stuff works. And I think it'll make you a better coach and leader for other people. First off, that was kind of a cool experiment I did to go see a therapist.
Yeah. But so before you start on that, though, Frank, I don't want to go into details on this, but Frank is the only person I know that is over the age of, call it 16, and it's probably more like 12. But the only person I know over the age of 16 that does not have a cell phone. So that's not something we're going to talk about in detail today. I've heard this story many times. Super, super interesting. So I'm sure there's a place you can go find that. But just wanted people to know that about you, Frank, because you're a very unique individual. Just very talented, very outspoken. But when you speak, the one thing I know is people absolutely listen.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So continue on. What's new in your life right now?
Well, so Vyral is a wonderful business. You can go hire Vyral. I'm the CEO of Vyral. We have about, I think, maybe like 55 people working for us now, helping you implement your database touch program, right? So if you want to get on video and you want to stay in touch, that's there. That's been my business. Now, over the years of masterminding and looking at different businesses and admin events and talking to basically everyone you're interviewing on this podcast, is you start understanding the state of disruption in real estate. And you understand that, like, I don't know, billions of dollars is gunning for the traditional real estate commission of all these disruptors, iBuyers, discount brokerages, whatever you have coming into the traditional real estate space. And
okay, so you say iBuyer there very casually, reminds me of how your therapist spoke to you, but iBuyer has been a major, major disruptor in this industry, has it not? I mean, any state that has that knows it's a huge disruptor. The biggest people in the industry, the Zillows of the world, for instance, are now all moving into iBuyer. I'm sure Realtor.com will go there. I just see that being the direction that a lot of people are going.
Exactly. And what you're finding is the insight well, there's a lot here, but the insight there is the new call to action is just get an offer on your house instantly. It's not find out what your home is worth. Because that was the big call to action for real estate professionals for a long time of, hey, find out what your home is worth, and here's my online calculator.
So rather than the what is your home worth, what is the value? What is that?
No. The seller is, I want an offer on my house. What are you going to pay me for it? That's the new seller lead generation tool.
Yep.
That's the tool. Not what's your home worth based upon some algorithm that's pretty much wrong. It's what's it? Give me an offer on my house now.
Come give me an offer. And what good does it do me as a homeowner to get an offer on my home today? What's the value?
Well, it gives you an idea of what it's actually worth. I mean, this is hearsay. I don't know the exact stat, but the story's at least telling. In Las Vegas, I don't remember the exact stat, but from what I recall, is somewhere near 50 to 60% of people went to like Zillow first to get an instant offer, but only a small percentage of them actually sold their home to Zillow that way.
Yep.
So you have this huge difference. You know, you have Zillow basically losing money or breaking even on the actual buying or selling of the home. But what are they getting? The seller leads.
Yep.
And they're going to try to figure out how to sell those, and that's where the money is. So I think a little insight so far is if you're in real estate, you need to have on your website, if you go to some big name agents, Mark Spain for one, I'll use your name, Mark, you do a wonderful job, Chris Lindahl for another up in Minnesota. If you go to their websites, you'll see buy your home, sell your home, and then guaranteed offer. Every real estate agent listening to this needs to have a guaranteed offer call to action in your marketing, which is really the new seller lead generator. Now, how you back that up, there's lots of ways, right? But I think that's very important. So it just goes to some of the disruption. But here's what I want to kind of share with these extra businesses, and what I'm doing with my wife leads into this, is the front end business is pretty much being run at break even to make it up on the back end. With that being said, Zillow, who knows, but arguably breaking even or losing money buying houses to make it up on the back end, let's say maybe through seller financing or mortgage or title, or maybe selling off leads that they're getting. Traditional real estate brokerages maybe making money a little bit as more and more power goes to your big agents. They suck up more of the deals and command lower splits. You got to open up a mortgage or title side to the business to maybe maintain profitability.
Yeah. So right? It's interesting how everybody, the world has now convinced, I think, or a lot of the big companies have convinced people that the real estate agent is overpaid. That being said, if you dig deep, you can see that there are so many expenses in there that they, in many times, are not even making a profit, right? So it's really interesting to see how people are willing to go after and dig into that. And I mean, there's been so many technologies built around proving that, and there's been technology companies formed around that. Many of them are now coming back and saying the real estate agent is needed. I'm a big proponent of real estate agents, and I personally believe they need to be there to keep the transaction together, because I've experienced how transactions can go south so easy without that. But yeah, there's so many different things that people need to do to go to that next level. So we're talking right now about adding that iBuyer. I want to make sure people didn't let that one slip by, because you said you need to have 3 things on your website. Can you repeat that? What are those?
Yeah, I mean, search for homes. You want to buy a house here. Maybe you want to sell your house. No, contact me.
Yep.
Or do you want a guaranteed or instant offer now to skip all the inconvenience and hassle?
So I just wanted to re-hit that, because I want to make sure that everybody listening to this makes sure that they are doing that. And you're not going to differentiate yourself from people listening to this podcast if everyone takes action, but you're definitely going to differentiate yourself from other people in your markets.
Mm-hmm. So what I was thinking about, I was like, man, I mean, you know, I'll use Gary Keller for an example, a great example to use. He wrote 2 books. He wrote the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, which is the best book I've ever written on how to scale a professional service. It doesn't have to even apply to real estate, but how to build a real estate team. But he also wrote an equally amazing book called The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. And I've always wondered, why haven't more real estate professionals that are experts in hiring, culture, and training, and ISAs, and CRM, and lead generation, and running sales teams, and using Sisu, right? Just take those same skills and apply it to the blue book. But nobody does it, right?
Yep.
I'm going to argue.
People have known that that's a great business forever, right? I mean, but I think it's almost being forced now to where people like you and me are saying, wait a minute, we almost have to do this, right?
Yes. So here's was the aha that I had. A good friend of ours, we both know, Jeff Cohn, who is one of the top real estate professionals in the country, a number 1 or 2 at Berkshire Hathaway in Nebraska. A friend of mine, we've been at his events. Jeff understands he maybe wants to open up an investment division. This is where we're heading here, guys. An investment division of his real estate team. So Jeff, when I believe, signs up for all the top investor masterminds. We're all the real estate investors, another culture, get together and share ideas. I was like, Jeff, are there any real estate team owners? I mean, even on the most basic definition level, doing 50 deals a year, not 600. Are there real estate teams in these meetings? No. That really, I mean, you got to be one of the sharpest tools in that shed of the sales systems you have in place, looking at investors that don't really, didn't come from that culture. He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. We have a 12-year run-up in real estate prices. Fed's lowering rates to start off the next recession. We all know that everyone's up to their eyeballs in debt. There's probably going to be a correction again. You have disruption against, the traditional real estate commission. I mean, there's this huge lawsuit going through on disclosing the buyer side. What's going to happen there, right?
Yeah.
It sounds to me that it would be a good idea about now to take all those skills and all that training and all that insight that you applied to your real estate team and open an investment division and apply what you learned in the red book, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, to the blue book. So that's what I told my wife. So my wife, Katie, has been essentially a stay-at-home mom. We have a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old, and Katie's like, I'm going crazy. It's time for me to go back to work. I'm like, great. She's like, what do you want to do? She's like, well, real estate. I'm like, okay, well, you can sell real estate or we can invest in it. What do you want to do? It's like, well, invest? I'm like, yeah, that probably sounds like maybe more where the market is heading and a little more stable, builds wealth. Sounds like a good rock. Because isn't there that general feeling that the traditional residential real estate model is under threat?
I think everybody feels that way, right?
Yeah, there's anxiety there, and you're seeing that.
Yeah.
Right? Plus, again, 12-year run-up in stock prices, everything corrects, everything moves in cycles. Let's get ahead of it. I mean, I hate saying this for, anyone listening to this can probably relate, but this could be taken out of context, but a lot of people got rich in 2007, 8, and 9. And there's a whole generation of guys, 35 to 45 that, were just starting the real estate business at that time that learned all these skills. Mm-hmm. Maybe think about being ready for that next once-in-a-lifetime buying opportunity. You could have your investment division going. So here's what I'm getting at. So I go to my wife and I say, Katie, let's open an investment division of Vyral. Let's take all the knowledge that we've applied, through the 10 years, and let's see if we can buy and sell some houses. And we did. We set up a simple CRM. We used Zoho for what we needed, and we started sending out some direct mail. We started running some Facebook ads. We started doing some outbound calling, all basic stuff. But going after homeowners in more distressed situations, this would be a list of pre-foreclosure, liens, vacant, divorce, probate, maybe going after homes that have, a significant amount of equity that they've been living there for quite some time, below the median price point. That's where you go fishing for investments, right? But it's the same prospecting, same skills. Well, blew it up. Same systems that I learned. Hiring agents to go out and do the appointments, building a team, building a CRM. And as of right now, my wife in the first 90 days, we bought 10 rentals already.
Congratulations.
Closing on 10 rentals. right?
I remember still when you were at Jeff Cohn's conference and you were saying, hey, we are launching this today, and you were in Omaha and you were going out getting this business started. So this is something
the total
doing in Omaha, right?
Yeah, the total amount, and I'll say this is not to, everyone wants to hear numbers. I'm going to share this. The total amount of equity or money, whether you're walking into because you're buying the home under market value, or you're fixing and flipping it, or you're wholesaling, has been over $500,000 Katie's brought in since we started this a few months ago.
Okay.
Just
awesome.
by taking, Brian, what you're hearing, what everyone listening to this podcast already knows, for the most part, and applying it to investments. And I shared this with your wife, Spring, and what did she say?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, I think anybody listening to this, I don't care how many millions of dollars you might be making a year, or maybe you're not, but if you have an opportunity to pull in $500,000 of equity or whatever it is over the course of 90 days, who wouldn't take that, right? Who doesn't want that?
Well, there's a lot you have to know, and this is where, not the scope of this podcast, but just things you have to understand is, okay, the marketing and the CRM, and then you have to have some of the ISA for lead follow-up, and then you have to have a team of acquisition agents that go out there and present the offer, and then you have to negotiate, then you have to line up some hard money. You got to buy the house.
Yeah.
You can get all that money, you're buying the home below market value, you would get a private lender and hard money, or a line of credit to buy it on a credit card, and then after you fix it up and everything else, you refinance out with a local bank, and you can do all of this no money down. The only real risk you have is fronting the marketing expense. Once you find the deal, you can do that no money down. And for those of you that are interested in that strategy, and again, this isn't the scope of the podcast to go down this method, it's called the BRRRR method. It stands for, it's a BRRRR. It stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat.
So 4 R's.
Yeah. That's
rehab, rent, refinance, repeat.
Buy it 70% below market value, if not more. I'm sorry, 30% below market value, if not more. You fix it up with borrowed money, and then you go to a local bank and say, hey, the home is worth 100. I'm into it for 80 all in. Will you give me a mortgage? And like, well, we require 20% down. You're like, that's great. I only owe 80. It's worth 100 on your drive-by appraisal. Boom. Right. Get the mortgage, pay off the hard money, and now you have a mortgage. And hopefully, if you get your numbers right, the mortgage payment that you probably stretch over maybe 20 years is about right with a commercial mortgage, local bank. The principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payment is less than the market rate of rent. That's the winning combination.
Right.
So you generally have to buy holds in markets where you get the 1% rule, meaning if you buy a home for $120,000, or if it's fixed up and it's worth $120,000, it rents for $1,200 a month.
So that's how you're determining if you're going to buy and hold or buy and sell.
Correct. If it doesn't fit the 1% rule, I'll probably sell it off. If it does, the name of the game is holds.
Yep. Okay. Very cool. Congratulations. That's a fun advancement in the last 90 days.
But what I want to share with you is, for anyone listening, do you think there's somebody in your life or on your team that could help you run this division? Or an ancillary business. That's the topic of today. Is there someone in your life that runs an ancillary business? Take what you've learned all these years running a top grade sales team. If you're doing 50, 60, 100, you are in the top 1% of sales managers and leaders, even though you may not think it, right? Take those skills and maybe apply it to title. Maybe apply it to mortgage. Maybe apply it to an investment division. To diversify your income where it's not in property management. Oh my goodness. Crush.
Yeah.
Property management companies sell for multiples more than real estate agencies.
So one of the things I've noticed in life, and I'm a lot older than you, but as you start focusing on things and just really inviting them into your life, people show up in your life that can make a difference there. And that happened with us actually today, where somebody showed up who's been running a large company doing this.
Saw the email.
They've showed up in our live to help us build this. So anyway, it's something that's super exciting. I want to jump back a little bit, Frank, because you mentioned quietly the 2007, 2008. You mentioned how a lot of people got rich then. I think most people think.
Well, I say that in the context, the majority of the country was devastated.
Yeah, right. That's what I wanted to talk about, though. Most people were devastated, but I mean, those of you who go to Tony Robbins and go to, all these other different learning events, as we both have, know that those times are when the rich get richer. So you want to have cash during that time so you can take advantage of the prices, right? Because it's always going to come back. So that's when most people think of, hey, I was devastated, but I want you to kind of paint the picture. What if that were to happen again at the end of this year, right?
Oh, I mean, as sure as the sun rises, it's going to happen again soon.
Right. So
I spent an hour today on YouTube watching the Fed chairman talk about how they cut rates again today.
Yeah.
And I'm watching them just keep the party going, man. Keep it in the punch. Like, please get us through an election cycle before there's a recession.
Right, exactly. Right? Yep.
And yeah, man, I mean, it's you're going to have a correction, as there are all market cycles. And we're probably more near toward that than later. And I don't know if you'd want all of your income based upon a traditional real estate commission or market correction. The market at the moment, right? I mean, that makes sense.
Yep.
And hopefully for someone listening, this is going to go, man, maybe Frank has something to say there. I should take all of these sales and marketing skills and personal development things and all these things you picked up in the wonderful real estate industry of personal development and insights and masterminds, and apply that to industries where that doesn't exist. They don't have that type of culture and investment, really. That culture and property management isn't there. When you go enter in those markets and apply what you guys know, like, let alone using a product like CISO to know your numbers. I think investors, like your average run-of-the-mill investors, using like a CRM and CISO and daily meetings and huddles managing. No, they're not.
Right. I mean, think of the advantage that somebody who knows how to run a strong, solid real estate team or real estate brokerage, think of the advantage that they have to accomplish what you just did. I mean, right? They can easily schedule appointments to get in front of all those homeowners. Nobody could execute on this at the same level as somebody in the business if somebody in the business is really focused on it, right?
Which goes back to, it's all about finding the who and finding someone who can run that ancillary business. There's lots of coaching out there. If you're looking to maybe think, okay, I want to diversify, and maybe how can I have ownership interest in the title company that we use that's fully disclosed, that I don't get in trouble with RESPA. How do I do that? There's people that will teach you. How do I maybe have an ownership interest in the mortgage company where I have a K1, it's not a referral fee, paid from the ownership interest? There's people that will teach you on that. If you want to open up an investment division, there's coaches that will train you on that. And I think, and you're seeing this with one of the models, is to run brokerage at break even. Run the iBuyer program. I mean, I was reading Zillow makes $1,000 on a home sale. $1,000? Yeah, good luck with that margin, right? I think there's something else where you maybe break even or make just enough money on the front end where your profit is made on the back end, where you're using the front end to acquire customers at break-even costs.
Yeah.
Ramp it up on the back end to make the money. I think that's kind of one of the ideas of the ancillary business today.
Yeah, and to clarify, I mean, we all know Zillow is losing money, and you say good luck with that model. That being said, I know that you know that Zillow is doing so much right? I mean,
oh yeah,
they know exactly what they're doing. They don't need to make money off of it.
But I don't think their whole profit strategy is on buying the home and reselling it for the margin.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Frank, well, just to wrap up, a couple of things I'd like to cover. If you could give just one piece of advice to everybody listening to this, and I know you've given a lot of advice today, and really around ancillary businesses. Do you have anything else that you'd want to share?
Go see a therapist.
There you go. Okay.
I've never seen a therapist before. It was so exciting. I think we all have personal trainers for our physical selves, and we work out. We go to conferences to get the knowledge to understand the tactics, but there's still behaviors we're all struggling with to fix things, right?
Yeah.
And mine has always been my weight just fluctuates all the time. So I decided to go to the therapist and talk about, I know how to lose weight. I know how to do everything.
So Frank,
how do I fix that? And
I have a question for you here, though. So I used to have a company called Drug Talk. We did a lot to help families with their kids, who ran into problems with drugs, whether it was their kids, their spouses, their whatever. So one of the things I found in therapy is a lot of therapists get into therapy because that's how they've had the same problem, and that's how they continue to battle and fight that problem. So how do you choose? My question really is, how do you choose the right therapist? Because you're advising us to go get a therapist, and
I'm just saying what I did. I went to Yelp and found some with a bunch of reviews, and so let's give this a shot.
Okay. So make sure you see their reviews.
They had a really comfortable chair. It was very nice. And I don't know. I think I think that was kind of cool. I think I like to think of myself as I really try to be very self-aware. Which why am I doing things? What makes me do things? Why do I want to do it this way? It's kind of like with the whole getting rid of the cell phone story. It was really just a self-awareness, of how it was messing me up. What I got most out of that session, which I really think what a great coach should do, if you're working with a great coach and trainer, and they're saying you need to go prospect, and you give them all the ways to prospect. It's not prospecting. It's not the knowledge. There's other things going on, right?
Right.
So I think the ability to build self-awareness through some type of therapy, just kind of the topic of my mind at the moment because you brought it up today. It was kind of cool. I would go check that out. That's all.
Cool.
Understand that's the personal trainer for your mind.
Okay, thank you. So I have 4 other quick questions. These are just one-word answers, though, basically. So first thing is, what's your favorite book?
I would say The Millionaire Real Estate Agent book is the best book I have ever read in my entire life on business.
I knew you were going to say that, so thank you. I've read the book as well, and I think anybody in any business can learn from that book. So, and your favorite thing to do? I have 2 things that I think you might say, but I'm not going there. So
I really like sitting around. And what I mean by that is I really value my creative time, and I schedule in doing absolutely nothing. That is what I like doing.
Because you are creative, right? I mean, that's how your creativity flows. And I've been in your office there. I've seen your musical instruments. I've seen you with your feet up on the desk.
I got a drum pad.
Okay, so now you guys know. I mean, that's what Frank does in his office during the day. And then if he wants to get something done, he actually goes. He's actually working all night. I get messages from him sometimes at 2 a.m.
Well, because creativity you can't schedule creativity. Mm-hmm. Like anyone that has to be creativity, it's just like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Then poof. And when I realized, not to go on the cell phone route, but this is very important, that the cell phone was ruining all my moments of creativity. Using the restroom on the cell phone, and the elevator using the cell phone. They didn't show up for the meeting, so eating breakfast alone on the cell phone. It's all those moments of calm between a very hectic and scheduled life where creativity comes. So I asked myself, what would happen if I replaced my cell phone with field notes? And I carried around a notebook. So in those moments that time stopped, I would start getting ideas, and I would capture them. And I find that what I do for free time is I love just like laying around and doing absolutely nothing.
No, for those of you that don't plan on getting rid of your cell phone, by the way, that's what I use Apple Notes for. If you looked in my Apple Notes, you'll see I have over 500 notes in there. And because I'm always taking notes on different topics and as my mind's going.
Yeah, and then the other thing obviously is I love playing music. This is my baby.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yep, it's my guitar.
All right, last question, Frank, before we find out how to get a hold of you, is just what's your favorite place?
The therapist asked me this at the forum. It's like, I want you to imagine your favorite place. Like, yes.
Yeah.
Imagine how you feel. And imagine, yeah. Visualization
What is it?
exercise. It's a waterfall.
Okay.
It's a waterfall. I think my favorite place is a tranquil waterfall like in Fiji. I have this image of Tony Robbins.
Have you been to
I have
Fiji?
not. I know you have, but
Okay.
I think that's my favorite place. I have a little waterfall in my office. I like the feel of flowing water. I moved to San Diego. I'm close. That's my favorite place.
Okay. Well, we're going to get you to Fiji. That's a commitment.
I would love that.
So how do people get a hold of you?
Just check out
Vyral Marketing, or what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, it's Frank at Get Vyral, GETVYRAL. Just Google Vyral Marketing. It's Vyral with a Y, VYRAL Marketing, and you can check out everything that we do on there.
Okay, Frank. Well, it's been a lot of fun. I always enjoy my time listening and just enjoying your stories and the way you think. It always helps me expand my mind. So thanks for your time today, and looking forward to seeing you. I know you have a mastermind in the coming weeks, so I may or may not be there, but hopefully I get to see you again soon.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, thank you.
So there you have it. Thank you for joining us on our podcast. If you have an interest in a free 7-day trial of Sisu, make sure that you use the coupon GRIT, that's GRIT, to waive all your setup fees and receive a 10% discount on your subscription. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and want to subscribe, search GRIT, the Real Estate Growth Mindset Podcast, on iTunes. And with that, we'll catch you next time. Take care.